How you doing? I'm Big D. What we're going to cover today is stock market crash. You're going to want to listen to this from start to finish. It's going to possibly affect you, and it might affect you in many different ways. If you do like what you see today, please like, share, and subscribe. Hit the bell notification for all. We're going to get right into it. What is a reverse market crash? When a market crashes up, meaning it starts to skyrocket and it doesn't show any reason for it. Now the rich will get richer, the poor become poorer. That is the minimum. Now the gap would increase substantially between the rich and the poor. This is my opinion and also my research. And I'll get into where I got my information from. What would happen if the interest rates drop too fast? Say, Fed, they want to drop, say a whole basis point, say 1 point. And they want to do this over the next few months. That is way too fast for what is going on with our system. Now, if the interest rates dropped 1% every couple of months, home prices would skyrocket. As it is, the housing market is stagnant right now because of the interest rates are too high. People can't afford a decent home. They might be able to get into a fixer-upper or something that they can live in while fixing it up. But the interest rates need to drop much slower. Quarter basis points would make sense. Just pretty much like what Powell did just last month. He is talking right now that the quarter basis point and possibly a half a basis point is where they're looking at going for the next possible. I'm not going to say it's going to happen, but it looks like it's a possibility of another probably % basis point. Now, I believe Trump has a plan to reduce the rates. You know how the rats are. They're deep state rats. Well, that's not what I meant this time. The rates fast because he wants to reset the system, and the dollar would be finally finished. Because over the last years, the purchasing power, this probably 50 plus years, the purchasing power has decreased by 97%. That information you can get right on the government websites, and it actually gives you a nice little graph, and it could show you what happened from 1913 to the present. And it's definitely not pretty. 1971, when the gold standard was taken away from America's US dollar, as far as a backer, that was another huge hit to America. Now, the IRS followed shortly after, became part of our system. Now, I don't know if you know about the Federal Reserve. It's not federal, and it's definitely not reserve. It's not even part of America. They are manipulating source, I will call it. You can look that up as well. It's very simple. You can find that information. Now, if Trump's plan follows through with a new currency would begin, the dollar would go away, and the new currency would be backed by precious metals or crypto even, led by Bitcoin, Ethereum, XRP, etc. It also could be both. Cross-border purchases would be within seconds, and the transfer of these monies would cost pennies to perform this transfer. Banks and countries would beg the cryptocurrency market to let them apply. Oh, wait. This is already steamrolling and in place. So I believe this is going to be 100% our future. People may say this is fear porn. I say, take what I am giving you and do a little research. And you will see I may be right. You can see how XRP has a standing line of countries that want to have a discussion and apply. Same thing goes for banks around the world. Now, look what happened to the housing prices during the Biden administration. The average salary to be able to qualify for a home loan, is an average of $125,000 a year. Because housing prices are so high, people are struggling and can't afford their lives right now. And I believe if Trump is doing what I believe, everything from high interest rates, home pricing, insurance, both car and home, grocery, energy, etc., will become manageable. Unlike what you might be fighting right now. Now, I live in New York State. The governor, over the summer, allowed the National Grid, where I receive my electric and gas, they allow lower income families to tax, it's more or less a tax in my opinion, become anybody with a certain income level, they become help for that individual. What happened to the state doing this? Why has it become my responsibility? Well, I think that's one of the things that are going to be fought, at least in New York State. I hear there is a group getting together to fight this. Because as it is, energy costs are still through the roof. And now that I have to pay for someone who doesn't have a job that makes enough money to survive, or maybe they're using their money for other things. So what's next? Will I have to pay for their gas, for their cars, their groceries? Where will it end? Sorry, it went a little sideways on this topic, but I think it needs to be said. Now, Venezuela, their stock market did exactly what a reverse market crash is. Their dollar was pretty much worthless and still is today. Their stock market shot up very quickly. The only one wanting a reverse market would be the top 0.01%. That's not even a percent. That's because they have already all the money right now. It would only increase the 0.01% income or worth. It would take the average individual and put them into the gutter, so to speak. Now, overnight billionaires were created. Now, this is what happened with the stock market in Venezuela. Market was 10,000 points. It's just an average I'm giving you. And in 1 year, their market shot up to 63,000 points. That's 630%. Now back to the United States interest rates. They should stay at 6% for at least another, I'd say, a year, and then reevaluate. So if Powell drops every month a quarter basis point for the rest of the year, this could lead to what Trump wants. Even though it's a quarter basis point, and I did say that if they're going to do some drops, this is probably where they should stick with. But anything more than that, I'm expecting turmoil. But this is what I believe will happen. You may not agree. Please leave a comment in the comment section and we can discuss it. I have been, and I'll try to continue leaving a comment if you leave a comment for me. And I really do appreciate it. Now, if unemployment doesn't start moving to the better, the interest rate has to go up at least, meaning a higher level, which does not sound good. A quarter basis point until it moves, hopefully gets more people back to work. Powell will be highly pressured to lower interest rates. Two reasons: we have midterm elections in a very short time, and Trump's plan, what we talked about earlier. You really should check into that, because it's exactly what he's been talking about, what he ran on his election with. It looks like it's lining up. But if the market climbs in 1 year, like it did in Venezuela, that would be fake, my opinion. Going up 630% in a year cannot naturally happen. So I'm going to give you a little bit of a few things that make this a little more understandable. Now, market manipulation exists. And when I said market climbing like that is fake and it's not a natural occurrence, and I'm going to give you some manipulations of what could happen. And I'm also going to give you some companies that actually were in trouble, and some are actually serving jail time. Now, this is a complex, highly debated question. While financial markets are designed to be fair and efficient, the possibility of manipulation is a persistent concern, and authorities actively investigate and prosecute cases of this market abuse. I'm going through my notes that I wrote like a little paragraph or two, so please bear with me. The breakdown of the issues. Market manipulation does exist. Regulators focus. Financial regulators like the Securities and Exchange Commission, the SEC, in the United States routinely bring enforcement actions against individuals and firms for market manipulation, insider trading, and other fraud or fraudulent activities. This confirms that manipulation is ongoing, and it is a reality in the financial market, though it often focuses on specific stocks or sectors like pump and dump schemes rather than the entire market. Types of manipulation. Manipulation takes many forms, including pump and dump, which I just gave you a little detail of, spreading false positive information to inflate a stock price before selling off shares at a profit. Don't forget how Congress, they write the laws. They have the information of what that law is going to be. So they, if it's depending on some high-end company, now they have information. They'll go, hey, let's go put $1 million in this and let's see where it goes. Well, many of these $174,000 a year congressmen and women, they have 2-3 homes, don't they? They have millions of dollars in the bank. Their net worth is huge. That's another part of manipulation. Now, types of manipulation: pump and dump, spreading false positive information to inflate a stock price before selling off shares at a profit. Insider trading, trading based on material, non-public information. Spoofing and layering, placing large orders with no intentions of executing them to trick others into trading at an artificial high or low price. information based on manipulation, spreading false rumors or reports. High valuations and manipulations. Now, this is when the question refers to higher than normal levels from the stock market as a whole, like the S&P 500 and the Dow. This generally relates to valuations, whether stock prices are justified by corporate earnings or economic fundamentals. Overvaluation augments. Many analysts argue that the market is currently overvalued by historical standards based on metrics like the adjusted price to earnings, which is the CAPE ratio. However, being overvalued is not automatically proof of manipulation. High valuations can be justified by low interest rates. Low interest rates make future earnings more valuable today, pushing prices up. Structural shifts. The increasing dominance of high growth, high margin technology companies in major indices can skew the overall average valuation higher. Sometimes I can't read my own writing when I write these scripts. The structural shift. The increasing dominance of high growth, high margin technology companies in major indices can skew the overall average valuation higher. Investor sentiment. General optimism or irrational exuberance can drive prices higher than fundamentally might suggest. System manipulation is hard to prove. It is extremely difficult to prove that the entire stock market is being intentionally manipulated to sustain high levels. I believe that is also false or fake. That should be able to, especially with the technology these days and AI. Manipulating a single stock is achievable. Manipulating all major indices against trillions of dollars in trading volume and global economic factors is much larger claim. Now to conclude, specific manipulation. Yes, specific instances of market manipulation in individual stocks, including the design to temporarily inflate prices, are proven to occur and are subject of ongoing regulatory enforcement. I don't think they're doing a well enough job, my opinion. Systematic manipulation of high levels. It is an unproven and highly contrast theory. While some believe central bank policies like quantitative erasing or the influence of large institutional investors contribute to elevated asset price, this is usually characterized as a debate over market efficiency and valuation rather than illegal manipulation designed to defraud investors on a grand scale. Yes, numerous individuals have been successfully prosecuted for manipulating the stock market, often resulting in massive financial loss for investors. You're going to know some of these names when I give them to you. Here are some of the most famous and costly examples of various forms of marketing manipulation and fraud. Start with probably one of the most famous, Bernie Madoff. Madoff Investment Securities. It was a Ponzi scheme. Financial loss, fines, and penalties. Estimated at $65 billion in fabricated loss for investors. The largest individual investment fraud in history, Madoff was sentenced to 150 years in prison. Enron Corporation. Kenneth Lay, Jeffrey Skilling, Andrew Fastow. Could be even Fastow. Accounting fraud, stock price manipulation, $74 billion in market capitalization wiped out, leading to the company's bankruptcy. Thousands of employees lost their retirement savings. Executives were convicted of fraud and conspiracy. The scandal led directly to the passage of the Oxley Act of 2002 to improve corporate governance. WorldCom, Bernard Ebers, accounting fraud, approximately $100 billion in lost investments after the company overstated assets by $11 billion. Ebers was convicted of fraud and conspiracy and sentenced to 25 years in prison. JP Morgan Chase. Is that one of your banks, maybe? Traders, Greg Smith, Michael Nowak. Spoofing marketing manipulation. Precious metals and U.S. Treasuries. The bank paid $920 million in criminal and civil fees. Traders were individually sentenced to prison. The firm admitted to committing wire fraud. The case involved tens of thousands of illegal spoof trades to manipulate the price of gold, silver, and other contracts. Now understand this. They were caught 2 other times as well. Not these 2 individuals, but JP Morgan Chase in particular. I think they only paid fines in that era. Now, Jordan Belfort, Stratton Oakmont, pump and dump scheme, estimated at $200 million lost by investors. The scheme involved illegally inflating the stock price of worthless penny stocks before selling them to unexpected, convicted and served time in prison, famously depicted in The Wolf of Wall Street. I think you might have seen that. I think I might have seen that. Isn't that the one with Charlie Sheen and Michael Douglas? I could be wrong. Usually I'm not. Now, the LIBOR scandal, multiple global banks, UBS, Barclays, Deutsche Bank. Now, these benchmark interest rate manipulation affected trillions of dollars in the financial products globally. Mortgages, student loans, etc. Banks paid tens of billions of dollars in combined fines worldwide. Traders manipulated the London interbank offerings. Now, they rate a key global benchmark for profit. It led to fundamental overhaul of how global interest rates are calculated. We're screwed with interest rates when it comes to credit cards. I only bring this up is it not only it's high interest rates, it's also, if I am correct, you can correct me. I do appreciate if I'm wrong that I am corrected, but it's compiled daily. Interest rate is compiled daily. That is just absurd. It should be the first thing that Trump did when he came into office is to make it so it was compiled monthly. Maybe all these years I've been around, but again, someone can clarify, but I'm pretty sure I'm right. Now, the SAC Capital Advisors, Stephen Cohen and hedge fund, insider trading, paid $1.8 billion in fines and pleaded guilty to federal wire and securities fraud. The firm was charged with facilitating a vast insider trading scheme. The $1.8 billion fine was one of the largest financial penalties for insider trading in U.S. history. You know, I can't say I'm 100%, but I'm very high percent of what I believe the government knew and allowed until maybe someone found this out and then turned it into the SEC. This is just something I came up with all on my own, you know. I don't think I've seen anybody that stated anything like that at all. But if you do believe in what did I say? Let's see, a reverse stock market crash, and then that brings down the U.S. economy. And if you believe in it, let me know in the comment section. But I am going to possibly have something I've been working on for a little bit now, a script for NESARA or Global Reset, etc. Let me know if you're interested. I may even do it as early as tomorrow. So if you can give me a comment of what you believe, that, hey, maybe you believe it's not even true, but I still want to do it because I do believe in it. So try to have a good rest of your day. And if I don't see you tomorrow, but I believe I will, I believe I have a show that I want to put together, and I should have it finished tonight. God bless, and have a great day.